Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for 6 things we learned from Chelsea players at Euro 2021. I've been missing doing 6 things we learned. It's a series that has a massive buzz straight after a game, especially if Chelsea win. And even though England lost the Euro 2021 final, if you want to see my reaction to that, you should go over to GBFC 2. It's my second channel that is actually going to be something that you might want to subscribe to for the upcoming Premier League season. I'll leave a link in the description. England are beaten, Italy are the winners, Jorginho and Emerson are double European champions, and now there's a genuine conversation about Jorginho being up for the Ballon D'Or. The man was absolutely huge for Italy, and with 6 things we learned, if you're new to the series, we got blue boxes, green boxes, yellow and red. Blue, of course, Chelsea blue, is for the standout, man of the match. Sometimes you can still be man of the match, but it's a green box. Blue is if you've done something relatively extraordinary. Green's good, yellow is what can you do about it? Not much to do, there's things to work on, and red is bad. And I thought for this 6 things we learned video, considering there was a lot of Chelsea players not only available and ready for the final, but in the latter stages of the competition in general, there was a lot to shout about for Chelsea fans as we watch our Chelsea players do so well for their respective countries. So, if you do enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, and without any further ado, we are going to begin with a blue box for a man who we've already spoken about here at the beginning, and of course, it is Jorginho. Jorginho had arguably as good of a tournament as anyone. The fact that he actually won the final with Italy, for me, I'd actually give him player of the tournament. I think the role that he played in that Italy side was so important to the success of what Italy did. Very, very many times in this tournament, we saw the Italians who, over the years, have always been renowned for having a very defensive side, a team who can grind out a 1-0 quite easily, but under Roberto Mancini, and obviously the guidance as well, who I'm very happy for Gianluca Vialli for being a European champion, what they've got now with this Italy team is a spine with Donnarumma, Bonucci and Chiellini that is not only incredibly experienced, even with Donnarumma for someone his age, he's incredibly experienced, but they've got that older quality. They've got a midfield. Jorginho made more flipping recoveries of the ball than anyone else in the tournament, and he also covered more distance than anybody in the tournament, which, as Chelsea fans, some of the times we talk about Jorginho and we think doesn't really do that much running as such. And even then, like when he is running, we know that in terms of speed, he's not quite up there as one of the paciest. I think the top speed he clocked in the whole tournament was 27 point something kilometers an hour. And you got players hitting the mid-30s for that as well. So he's not the quickest, Jorginho. But what he did in this Italy side was controlled everything. The tempo of the way Italy played was always conducted and managed by Jorginho in the middle. I thought he was absolutely excellent. Covered 86.6 kilometers of ground, which is more than any other player in the tournament. And despite not scoring a goal or even registering an official assist in this tournament, I think it cannot be underestimated just how important the performances of Jorginho was. And I think as a Chelsea fan, when I look back at my criticism of Jorginho over the years, and sometimes in games where he doesn't quite have that final pass spark that we would have liked or we were used to from, say, somebody like Cesc Fabregas, but it cannot be underestimated what Jorginho does by managing the midfield, whichever it is, be it Chelsea or Italy. It enables the players in front of him and also behind him, because of the confidence they have in what he does, it enables everybody else to do that work that enables players to stat pad themselves. You know, having Jorginho there, no goals, no assists, but I watched a lot of Italy in this tournament, and obviously I watched the final. I thought Jorginho was excellent, and I cannot wait to see him back in a Chelsea shirt next season, because I think alongside Kante, could be hard for Mateo Kovacic to get back in this team, because Jorginho is going to be playing with confidence. Kante is N'Golo Kante, and I think Jorginho had a wonderful tournament. Congratulations to him for winning, and we move into box number 2, and it is a green for Mason Mount. I think it was a little bit weird earlier in the tournament when we had the whole ordeal with Mason Mount and Chilwell not being available for selection because They were interacting in the tunnel with Billy Gilmore, and then we went on to see the whole of the Scotland team just absolutely fine, although they've been pretty much living with the geezer and training with him every day. That was a little bit odd. But what we noticed when Mason Mount was ready and available again is that Gareth Southgate will pick him every single time because of the work rate that he puts in, the press, the ability to turn on the shoulder. He only managed to get an assist in the tournament, no goals for Mason Mount, but I've given it a green because I think he played very well in the knockout rounds, and I think we can see the importance. Not only we know that Lampard did it at Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel learned very quickly at Chelsea that Mason Mount is a player who is almost undroppable for the variety of different things he brings to the squad. Gareth Southgate agrees as well. And again, I think it is huge for Mason Mount that not only being a Champions League winner, Chelsea the champions of Europe, by the way, but getting to a major final with England as well. You think of all of the things that Mason Mount is achieving at such a young age, the ceiling for where he's going to end up is absolutely outrageous. And I think Mason Mount had a really, really good tournament. And we move into box number 3, and I've given it to the Danish superstar who goes by the name of Andreas Christensen. What an incredible end to the season it has been for Christensen. Winning the Champions League for Chelsea, playing a huge part in that final when he came off the bench for Thiago Silva when Silva went off injured. He took that confidence into the international tournament, and after what was an absolutely horrifying first game, in every sense of the word for Denmark, with the Eriksen incident, with then losing that opening game to Finland, the way that the entire Danish team turned it around was incredible, almost impeccable. And they get to the semi-final, losing to England in extra time, but Christensen managed to play 6 games, scored an absolute rocket of a goal, and was an ever-present mainstay in that back line for Denmark. And I think we've seen now, one of the issues I always spoke about with Christensen, if I bring it back to Chelsea stuff from over the years, Christensen did have an issue when it was in the lead up to big games where sometimes he'd get a bit sick and he wouldn't be able to play. And I often wondered if we were seeing Christensen at any point develop into the kind of player who is a leader. You know, John Terry said a lot of good things about Christensen before he left the club. And I always wondered, are we ever going to see that kind of leadership from Christensen? Are we ever going to see him playing with that confidence that we would get from individual games, but not on a consistent basis? And in this tournament for Denmark, I think he was absolutely fantastic. And it is why, when I think about Chelsea's needs this summer in the transfer window, if we don't sign a centre-back, I'm actually not too bothered, because I think Christensen can develop even further this coming season for Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel. We know that he can also do the role of playing in defensive midfield if Chelsea need him to do that as well. And I think Christensen is about to have a huge season back at Chelsea Football Club. It's a green box for him. And again, top speed, 33.3 kilometres an hour, 6 kilometres an hour faster than Jorginho. Christensen's ability to track back, recover the ball, excellent. And I think he had a fantastic tournament for a very, very good Denmark side. We move into box number 4, and it is a yellow box. And I want to talk about Reece James and Ben Chilwell. Very unfair that it's not a green, but at the same time, I would have loved, as a Chelsea fan, and obviously this is my opportunity to be biased, I would have loved to have seen more minutes for Reece James and Chilwell, but particularly with Ben Chilwell, it was unfortunate because it always looked from the side. I don't know if you guys watched Lion's Den. My boy Josh Denzel was presenting it. It was a fantastic series throughout the Euros within St George's Park. Chilwell always kind of looked like he was a bit of a side man, you know, in the group, and it never really looked like it was clicking for him, which is obvious when you're not getting picked and you're not playing. But to be very honest, I think Luke Shaw was by far the best left back in the tournament, so therefore you can understand why Chilwell didn't play. But at the same time, I think Luke Shaw's form, you saw the goal that he scored in the final. If England would have won, it would have been Sir Luke Shaw before we've even woken up. Luke Shaw was absolutely incredible. So for Ben Chilwell in particular, you totally see as a Chelsea fan why he didn't play. Reece James, I mean, I like Kieran Trippier, but I think Reece James is actually a better player, which I know that some people might disagree with. Kyle Walker, absolutely sensational throughout the tournament when he came in, playing in the right centre-back role as well. And I'm not too worried about Reece because we know that the right-hand side of England's squad is incredibly talented with so many different options. So with Reece James being one of the youngest of that bunch, we know Again, with the World Cup coming up next year, Reece is going to have a big part to play in Chelsea's season. Reece will be on that plane to the World Cup in Qatar, without question. And with Trippier and Walker getting older, we know it's only a matter of time before Reece James moves into the England starting 11 permanently. So it's a yellow for both Reece and Ben Chilwell. Would have liked to have seen more, but totally understand why we didn't. We move into box number 5, and it is, of course, a green for another champion, Emerson. Chelsea's left-back Emerson. A lot of talk this summer is that Emerson will be leaving the club. People are saying that Jose Mourinho wants him at Roma. There are talks that supposedly in the Italy camp, he was talking to Jorginho, asking him what life is like in Naples for a proposed move to Napoli. So, where do I sit on this one? We know that Emerson, ever since he's really joined Chelsea, has been a bit of a bit part player. He's never going to, at this rate at least, overtake Chilwell as Chelsea's number 1 left back. And what I saw from Emerson in this tournament was he clearly isn't as effective for Italy as Spinazzola was. Spinazzola was getting forward. He scored a goal, I think, in the group stage as well. Absolutely amazing. But with Emerson going forward, he very rarely carries the ball forward for Italy, but he was more of like a decoy. I watched this in James Alcott's video. He analysed it perfectly. He was a decoy to allow Insigne to be more free on that left-hand side. And most of the time when you see Emerson in the Italy shirt, he was progressed and advanced further up the field. And I think when he came in for Spinazzola, which was a horrible injury, and I'm obviously glad to see him get a medal despite being an England fan, I think when Emerson came in, he did very well. And I think the confidence that will give him will be huge. Double European champion again. And even if he does get sold by Chelsea this summer, I think that his performances at the Euros mean that those extra potential million or $500,000 of bargaining power that Chelsea might look to squeeze as much money out of the Emerson sale as possible. With his performances and the role he played for Italy, Chelsea are in a better financial position to get those extra millions potentially for Emerson in any deal that we make to sell him. So very, very happy for Emerson. It was a great tournament for him. And I want to finish by bringing it back to a player who didn't manage to make it to the latter rounds of the competition because England knocked him out. But in the group stages, there was a lot of people saying a lot of good things, rightly so, about Champions League winner Kai Havertz. I thought he was excellent. I've given him a green box. And I think in a German side who, yes, they were in a very tricky group and they did well to get out of it. But when you look at the German performances, as a team, it was kind of difficult to watch because they had so many talented individual players. But as a team, it didn't quite connect. Even against Hungary, Germany were lucky to go through. But one of the consistencies with what we saw from Germany, even there were flashes at times in the game that we saw against England where Havertz was actually doing very well. Havertz looked good, and unfortunately for him, his tournament was ended in the last 16. But once again, like I said months ago, we saw the confidence carried through from Chelsea's Champions League triumph with Kai Havertz. He was the most important German player, in my opinion, had a great tournament in the games that he played, and I wanted to finish the 6 things we learned by saying that what we saw for Havertz in Germany in the competition, I fully expect him to carry that on for Chelsea come the start of the new season. But anyway, going to wrap up this 6 things we learned from Chelsea players at Euro 2021 here. If there's anything else that you want to register in the comments down below about our players during this tournament, let me know if you agree with the boxes that I've given or anything else you want to add. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you are new, and I'll catch you guys later. Come on, you Blues.